In today's episode, entitled Woman at Pool Gets Some Sweet Revenge. Corrupt manager wants me to reject crucial supplies I do as instructed. Paranoid flatmate thought I was cheating her. So let's get started. Entitled Woman at Pool Gets Some Sweet Revenge. Entitled Pool Mom's Plans Backfire. This happened in late July of 2019. Me, 17F, and my family, what I call my family and parents' friends' family that I grew up with, were at a pool on a super hot day. It was midday and the pool was packed. For some background, we were at a campground with two pools, so the pool I was in was filled with older kids and adults while the other pool was for younger kids and toddlers. The larger pool had been crowded by multiple families and all the tables near the pool were filled. I had been floating on a pool tube in the pool watching my younger friends play around me and casually listening into my parents and their friends' conversations. I was just vibing when I noticed some commotion coming from my left side. I saw maybe 6 boys aging from 10 to 14 playing with the water basketball set, the ones where you shoot from inside the pool. They were just being kids, and every once in a while the ball would roll away from the pool. One of them would jump out to get the ball. It just so happened that the ball had rolled in the direction of our entitled parent, EP. EP was with her 3 under the age of 10 kids. She started yelling at the boys. It's been a while since this happened, but I'll try to be as accurate as possible. EP, hey. Quit playing so rough around my kids. You're making too much noise and getting my stuff all wet from your splashing, etc. She went on this rant for a while, yelling at the boys for playing in the pool. She cried about how her baby was getting splashed and how rude the boys were. At this point the boys had all stopped to watch her in shock. I saw one of the younger boy looked like he was about to cry. This is when I stepped or floated in. Me, excuse me ma'am. Her gaze turned to me, and it looks could kill. I would have combusted then and there. EP, what? Me, the boys are just playing, let them be. Your kids are nowhere near them and aren't bothered at all. This is the camp pool. Let the kids play, leave them alone. Did I mention her own kids were on the other side of the pool splashing each other? She got red in the face and grumbled at me to shut up, but didn't really do much. The boys thanked me and I thought the incident was over. Or so I thought. About 5 minutes later I saw her still glaring at me, but I did my best to ignore her. I saw he skirt and walk over to her kids. She whispered them something. They got super excited and started to run at me. I was slightly confused until I realized they weren't stopping. They ran at me and launched themselves into the pool to splash me. No, I have glasses and am pretty much blind without them, so I wear them into the pool with me if I'm just floating, like I was that day. Once I cleared the water from my glasses I saw the kids giggling in the water running to the ladder and the EP just giving me a smug grin. Then I had an idea. I grinned right back at her and then turned to her kids with a laugh. And said with a smile. Me, is that the best you got? I barely noticed any splash, hit me again. The kids lit up with joy and quickly scrambled out of the pool and tried to splash me again. Each time I would laugh and encourage them to try again. This quickly turned into all the kids in my area trying their hardest to make the biggest splash and me ranking each splash. I will cherish the face the EP gave me when she realized her plan of messing with me completely backfired, and how she couldn't stop what was happening without upsetting her kids. It was glorious. Corrupt manager wants me to reject crucial supplies I do as instructed. About a couple of decades ago, I used to work at a concrete production plant for a reputable construction company. Our company, like several other construction companies, were awarded a portion of a larger project. A large portion of land was earmarked for setting up temporary office buildings and concrete plants for the different construction companies. The sites were separated by temporary barriers and had separate entrances. As many of you may or not know, concrete is produced by mixing cement, water, sand and stone grits, size 20 mm plus 10 mm, along with special admixtures in a specific ratio. Our recipe also contained a special ingredient, stone dust. Turns out, only our company used stone dust in our concrete and the neighbors did not. So a special truckload full of stone dust was specially shipped for us. This is important later. My job entailed orchestrating concrete delivery to our project sites apart from regular quality control tasks like checking incoming materials for quality, etc. Only after I had signed the delivery receipts, our store's personnel would unload the trucks at designated areas. A log of all trucks entering and leaving the concrete batching plant would be kept by security at gate, relevant later. Since my job entailed checking incoming material before accepting, the suppliers would usually try to offer some petty bribes, from cash to booze to flesh, if you know what I mean. I always declined such offers, as once accepted, you became their dog and lose all respect in their eyes. Moreover, bad material also impacted the quality of concrete produced, strength, consistency, and setting time, to name a few. Since concrete delivery was also part of my job, it was in my best interest to only accept good material, otherwise the client would chew me up during casting. One night, a supplier truck entered the premises with 20mm stone chips. Upon testing, I found them to be undersized for 20mm and oversized for 10mm. I went ahead and rejected the load. The driver and supplier started pestering me, offering bribes and whatnot. When I didn't budge, they called my boss, who asked me what was going on. I explained that the quality of material was unacceptable, and I have rejected this. When I mentioned it is too small for 20mm, he ordered me to dump it in 10mm bin anyway. I knew what that meant. My boss was on the supplier's payroll. A couple of weeks passed by and my boss asked me to reject a truckload of material from a very reliable supplier. He knew that the supplier was only delivering stone dust that day, and should we reject material, the entire load would be a waste and a loss to the supplier. Once the stone chips or stone dust has left the quarry, they, for some reason, can't bring it back. Hence my boss wanted to hit the supplier where it hurt most. Especially stone dust, as there was no other company that would take it. Cue malicious compliance. I called the supplier, who had become a friend by now, and told him that I was under orders to reject a truck. He panicked and told me that my boss was putting pressure on him for bribes. This particular supplier believed in providing quality material and always visited my lab to understand how I tested the material and what my requirements were. He would then go back to his quarry and adjust the equipment to deliver the best quality materials. Because he put so much effort in improving the quality of his product, he did not budge and bowed down to my boss's demands. I asked the supplier friend to route a truckload of 20mm stone chips meant of some other company to my plant first. I would let the gate security log the truck's entry, and then promptly reject the material. He was then supposed to send the stone dust, which I would accept and be done with my task. Everything happened as planned. I completed my remaining activities for the night and went home. When I came back to work in the evening, my boss was waiting for me at the door. As expected, he had checked the entry/exit log as well as material receipt history. He had noticed that I had accepted the stone dust and was chewing his anger, waiting for me to explain. He very casually asked me if I had rejected a truckload. I acted dumb and answered in affirmation. I told him that the very first truck, a 20mm, was rejected. Now usually 20mm is never rejected, especially from this supplier, so he asked me what reason did I give while rejecting the truckload. I said flakiness index, a test we never do as a field test, but is mandated by the client to be done once a quarter. He knew that I was playing him, but he couldn't do anything. I had done exactly what he had asked me to do, reject a truckload. I had covered my bases with the security log as well as material receipt, so he just muttered something under his breath and never mentioned this to me again or asked me to do anything similar. 2 months later he was transferred to a different site, and I became the overall in charge, same designation and pay, just more responsibilities. Paranoid flatmate thought I was cheating her. This happened 10 years ago when I was studying abroad in Spain. I had rented a 4-bedroom apartment and then advertised the other rooms, trying to find nice flatmates. The first two were great, but I was struggling to find a fourth one. There were some people interested, but I just had a bad feeling about them. In the end, I decided to accept this Russian girl, against my better judgment. She was trouble from the beginning. Always in a bad mood, always acting as if the world owed her something. She said many times she hated Spain, and I'm thinking, why are you here then? She always seemed paranoid that she was being cheated by everyone. For example, once she found out I didn't pay the same amount as the other three, obviously I paid less. I was the one who found the flat, it was my name on the contract and all bills, I was liable for all damages, they weren't my friends, I didn't have a contract with them, it was all casual. So she told me it was illegal to sublet, and that if I didn't start paying the same, she'd call the police. I told her it was only illegal if the owner of the property wasn't aware of it. She actually found the number of the owner, and called him to complain about me. Luckily he's a cool guy and told her I have my contract with him. Whatever you agreed with him is your problem. I only know this because he called me, saying that girl is trouble. Anyway, this long year comes to an end, and we all need to go back to our countries. Before that, we need to calculate our final expenses. The way it works in Spain, they only check your gas and water twice a year, I think. In the meantime you pay an estimate, and when they check they adjust, and you either pay more or receive money back. To simplify the calculations, I had been the one paying all the bills every month. Then once they checked the gas and water, and we had the correct number, I'd be able to calculate exactly how much they owed me. Trying to avoid any complaints from the Russian girl, who I was sure would think I was cheating her somehow, I made the clearest table possible, every bill was attached to it. The final thing you need to know for this to make sense, is that halfway through the year, a friend of mine found himself with nowhere to live. I had an extra mattress, so I told him he could stay with me until he found a new place. He only stayed for 3 weeks in my room, but he is the tittiest person I know, so he was cleaning the apartment, he would surprise us with dinners, etc. My other two roommates actually told me we should kick the Russian out, and have my friend move in permanently with us. Eventually he found a new place and left us. So, when I was calculating the expenses, I thought it would be nice to just deduct €10 from what each flatmate owed me, to compensate for the extra water/gas/electricity he spent. It was way generous, there's no way his presence added €30 to our bills, but I did it anyway. After doing that, the final total was something like €304.52 per person. I told them to just round it down to €300, thinking I was the most generous landlord they'd ever find. Of course the Russian girl wasn't happy. She told me she didn't think it was fair that I was just guessing it, that my friend has stayed for almost a month, so I should recalculate it, but divide 1 month by 5 instead of 4. I was just rolling my eyes, like it must be so exhausting being you. So I was like, okay, let's do it together, so you don't think I'm cheating you. She sat by me and we revised the accounts and voila, by doing it her way, she now owed me more. It was just like €5 more, but of course I didn't round it down this time, I had her give me every last cent. When the world is dark and I'm depressed, one of my favorite memories to go back to is her face as she was handing me those final worthless coins. Smiley face. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.